I feel like Nick died because he was trying to prove that he was a man by driving in a car, by driving fast in a car. I would just say that teens and parents have to take this seriously because the statistics don't lie and they're not going down. Teens are dying. Teens are dying by the thousands in this country, and something has to change. When I look at Nick, he had just beautiful brown eyes, and I just loved staring into his big brown eyes. When he was 3, Nick and I were at home all day. So I remember I had a little video camera and we would shoot movies, and he loved Ghostbusters. He was born in '87, so Ghostbusters was really big. And he had the little coverall, Ghostbusters coveralls, and he had the gun, and he had the Marshmallow Man, and we would do these little video movies where he was like the Ghostbuster, and we would play the music, and I would spend hours doing them because we were just bored, but he loved that, and he remembered that as a teen. He would remember that. Remember when we were Ghostbusters, Mom? This is a picture of Nick and Josh together. Josh loved his big brother. When he was little, he would just follow him everywhere. And he even learned to walk when he was 9 months old just to keep up with his big brother because he loved his big brother. That night, he called me from his friend Daniel's house. His friend Daniel had a driver's license. He'd had it for about 6 months. And he was at his friend's house, and he said, "Mom, is it okay if Daniel spends the night?" So Daniel and Nick came over, and then he and Daniel were on the computer in the living room, and they were joking around, watching videos. And I said, "Okay, Nick," because it was about midnight. I said, "Okay, I'm going to go to bed now. You guys kind of keep it down." Then I went to sleep. And then about 3 o'clock, my phone rang, and I woke up, and I answered it, and I heard on the other end, "Becky, this is Daniel's grandfather. You need to wake up and get dressed." I said, "What's going on?" He said, "The boys were in a car crash." And I said, "Are they okay?" And he said, "One of them died." And I said, "Was it Nick?" And he said, "Yes." And I said, "Where is Nick?" And he said, "He's at the school, his high school." And I opened my front door, and my car was gone, and Daniel's car was in my driveway. And I knew that Nick had taken my car. And I started running towards the high school. And then I got to the corner of the high school, and I saw all the flares on the street. And I started seeing police officers and cars and fire trucks. And they had big lights shining down on my car. It was up against a tree. And a police officer walked up to me, and she said, "Are you his mom?" And I said, "Yes." I said, "Where is he?" She said, "You can't see him, but he died instantly and he didn't feel it." My friends came and picked me up, and then they drove me to my house. And I woke Josh up, and I held his hand, and I told him that his brother died. And I feel a burning desire to tell teens that driving in a car doesn't make you a man, and it doesn't prove anything. And that if they have to use a car to prove that they're a man, then they need to rethink what a man is. And that's how I feel. I feel like I have to tell parents and teens what it really means, and that it's the #1 cause of death for teens. They don't know that. They don't understand that. I tell teens that it's up to them, that I could talk and talk, their parents can talk, but until they start putting peer pressure on each other, and until they start really focusing on the fact that it is killing them by the thousands, and they start looking at each other saying, "Don't do that," it's not going to stop. Don't trust your teen 100%. Assume they're not always doing the right thing. And take the car away. You have such power over your teen. Take the car. Take the keys when they mess up. There were all these warning signs in my life that I ignored. And I remember looking in his room the day after he died. And I opened the door and I looked in his room, and it was covered with pictures, car pictures, these big pictures of these muscle cars and these different import cars. And Nick would go to all kinds of car shows with his friend Daniel. And I remember at the time feeling so proud of him. Oh, he's into something. He has a hobby. It's fun that he's with his friend and they can go to car shows and have fun together. And I remember after he died just looking at that room, and I just hated those pictures so much. And then I thought, why didn't I notice? Why didn't I know? As a parent, I was so worried about taking drugs and who his friends were. and what he was doing after school. I was doing all the things as a parent that I thought I needed to do to protect him. And I just felt this rage that no one told me that the one thing I really needed to do was to really sit down and talk to him and focus on driving. I didn't know that was the #1 cause of death for teens. I was so focused on drugs and how well he was doing in school and who his friends are. I didn't even think about driving because he only had a permit. I wasn't very concerned about driving. And I kept thinking, oh, well, maybe he'll have a fender bender, my insurance rates will go up or something. I never once thought it would be something that would kill him. I can't tell you, the burden is burying your child. Nick's going to be 21 this year. The burden is deciding, do I go to the tree or the grave? That's the burden.